Echo just came out very recently on Disney Plus. I'm only 2 episodes in. I'm literally gonna probably right after this go home and watch the last 3 episodes with my dad. Uh, Man, I love it. Well, I don't want to say I love it yet because I haven't seen the last. Like, I think a lot of the Marvel shows sort of dwindle in the second half, so we're gonna have to wait and see. But so far, the first episode of Echo is just spectacular. I really loved it. I'm gonna spoil it really quick because it's only the first episode, and literally all of it's out on Disney Plus. You can watch all of it right now, and I don't want to be behind. So I do want to say like maybe 4 or 5 minutes on Echo. What I loved about the first episode of Echo is one, Daredevil. Obviously, you get to see Daredevil again doing actual Daredevil things in his classic red suit. Look, I love actually the yellow. I'm a yellow Daredevil suit apologist. I actually really love that suit in She-Hulk. I actually think for She-Hulk and for the tone that show's going for, the yellow suit worked perfectly for Daredevil. But come on, man. Especially how Daredevil season 3 ended. Like, yes, he's like, all right, I'm going to be a lawyer again and I'm going to be Daredevil, but you didn't get to see him put the red suit back on because he's still in his black suit at the end of that season. So to see him in his red suit, classic red, and that fight was like, oh my gosh. So they're actually going to try to do it. I would not say it's perfect. It's not perfectly Netflix, because there is a difference. Because the Netflix gritty fights with Daredevil, because the Netflix shows budgets were not the highest, or they had to stretch them really thin, it looked a little bit more gritty and a little more hands-on. And in Echo, it's gritty because it's, like they're doing fights and like people get shot in the head in Echo now. So like Marvel has people shot in the head now. It's gritty on paper, but the way some of it can be presented sometimes is like, this is a little too smooth maybe. But I still don't think it's a negative necessarily because I see it as they're trying things out. They're trying to see how can we meld the traditional Marvel with the violence and grit of the Netflix shows. And I think they're starting to find a good dance with it. And I think it's starting to come together. And I think that Daredevil scene in Echo really proves it. Also, all the fight scenes in the first episode of Echo. I like how the first episode kind of goes back before what we saw in Hawkeye and then interweaves through what we saw in Hawkeye. And what I also love is because she dealt with Hawkeye and Daredevil's in the show and she's dealing with Kingpin, I just love the meld of like, oh my goodness, Hawkeye and Daredevil are in the same episode of this show. Like, this girl ran into Daredevil and then she ran into stinking Hawkeye. That's pretty cool. And there's so few shows that get to do that. I really like, this is the first time, especially in a while, some of these shows where you actually get to see the connectivity of some of it. Like, now we're actually seeing Daredevil a lot more, so when you do go back and you watch, like, Spider-Man No Way Home, you're like, oh, Daredevil's there. And then She-Hulk, Daredevil's back. And then Echo, Daredevil's back again. They're really establishing Daredevil as a street-level player, and he's starting to poke out through some of these different things. So when his show does come out, it's going to be good. And I think even though they had to do some re-shifting for the Daredevil show that's coming out later, I think they're going to find the right sauce to go into this. And I'm really excited about that. Now, other than that, what else do I like? I just love Echo as a character, as an idea. Like, she has one leg, she's deaf, and she's, like, native, which is pretty cool. I think it's just a cool set of dominoes. And they're playing around with, like, her ancestry, which I think is really cool. And also, like, the native myths of, like, the beginning of human life, I guess? I don't know. Or the native legends, or I don't know what you would call them. I don't know. Religion? I don't even know if it's religion. But I think it's cool. I really like how some of these Marvel shows are diversifying the perspectives, and they're trying to at least give you a little bit of each of these different points of views, that's what the Marvel shows have been doing. Even though middling success, I think they've been doing that at least really well, of like exposing the world to these different cultures. And I think that's a cool idea. And yeah, I don't know where Echo's going to go and what the full story is and what her goals are yet. I'm only on episode 2, but I am excited to see where it goes from here, because I think it could be a really special show. Or it could just whatever. I think Marvel is stepping away from this structure of Marvel television, and even though I haven't hated it totally, I could see why they're doing it, because first of all, the way they're running it is just stupid. They're not running them like shows, they're running them like movies. Here's a fun idea, and here's a cool way to save some money. Run the show like a show. But for what it's worth, I think Echo's really good. I think the Agatha Harkness show that's going to come out at the end of the year is going to be really good. Or at least pretty good. But I do think after this year, these live-action Marvel shows are going to be taking a different direction and trying to structure out differently, I hope. Especially with Daredevil. And moving forward with all their shows. I think all their shows, especially now that you've got the first seasons done and they're all established, you could be more traditional and really flesh out these characters.